This past year, we've had ups and downs, whether it was from the normal temperature differences to even our precipitation and snowfall. So, lots of differences that we can get on into as we look into what we saw this past year in 2025. Breaking it down, let's start with what we would typically see for our normal high temperatures here in the valley. Usually, right, starting in January and February, our highs typically are around the mid to upper 30s, climbing into the 60s by April, and then mid to upper 70s May into June. 80s for June and July, low 80s. That's going to be the key there. Back into the 70s for August, September 62, and then 50 degrees as we head into November, and then December 39 degrees for that average high. Now, what we are going to see that we had for 2025 for our mean temperatures, a little different. That yellow line that you're seeing is going to be what we had for temperatures this year. The blue line is the line I just showed you with the average temperatures. So we were slightly below average to start out in 2025. 28 degrees was that average mean temperature in January. And then we had a pretty warm March. 55 degrees was the average temperature. Stayed right around what we would typically see in April. We had a pretty warm summer. We had temperatures slightly above average, especially in July at 85 degrees for that normal mean temperature. And then we had a warm September, 79 degrees for that average high. And then we started to see right around average temperatures heading into November and even in December as well. But again, December numbers not quite finished as we have still a couple days left. Now, when it comes to the precipitation, looking at what we typically see, we had quite a difference when it came to the last year. Now, we did see when it came to that water amount in totals, really saw a lot of that rain. Remember the summer, we had a lot of severe thunderstorms that moved on through, and we got a lot of rainfall, but then things started to take a bit of a nosedive. If you can recall back, July, we had a lot of rain, but then August, September, even into October, did not see a lot of rainfall. In fact, even in September, though our departures only a couple of inches shy, we got all of that rain, that 2.4 inches, really in just 1 or 2 days, really. And then we did see only about an inch and a half, or less than an inch and a half, rather, in August. So much of those drought conditions that we did talk about are going to be seen there. And then still waiting for those December totals when it comes to precipitation. Now, when it comes to that snowfall, really, we saw very light snowfall heading towards the back end of the winter months on the first half of 2025. We saw an average snowfall total only about an inch or so less in January, about an inch and a half less than we would typically see. But then as we got into February, we saw about 5 inches less, and then even less into March, only a trace in April, which typically in April we wouldn't see too much snow anyways. We usually see about an average of 2.5 inches. Now, as we head into October, November, and December, so far we had 0 inches of snow this October, but then we really started to see the snow ramp up. Starting in November, we had about 6.4 inches of snow here in the valley. We usually only see about 4.5 inches. And then we really saw a lot of snow already this December. And we're actually leaning above average already. Again, still a few more days to go, but this is based on the data as of the 29th. So this is what we're going to see, about 15.6 inches thus far from the time of this filming. And then that, of course, will rise as we head into the next couple days with potential snowfall totals. So all in all, we had some ups and downs, as I mentioned, for 2025. So we'll have to see how 2026 starts to shape up. Reporting for Storm Team 27, I'm meteorologist Hannah Erdman.